Germany is preparing to relax restrictions along its border with Austria.
The German authorities imposed border controls last September as hundreds of thousands of people sought asylum in the country. More than 1 million migrants arrived via Austria in 2015. But the numbers have fallen significantly after countries along the so-called West Balkans route closed their borders. The German authorities registered 20,000 asylum seekers last month. The country's Interior Minister, Thomas de Maizière, says if the numbers remain relatively low, the controls will end on the 12th of May.
That's the BBC's Jenny Hill. The first Syrian family to be resettled in the U.S. under its accelerated surge operation is headed toward the United States from Jordan. Ahmad Al-Aboud is being resettled with his wife and 5 children. Says he's thankful to Jordan, where he's lived for 3 years, but is hoping to find a better life in the U.S. News and analysis at townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. The hackers who crippled the computers of one of Washington's largest healthcare networks exploited a well-known vulnerability.
A network loophole awaiting a simple update since 2007. The Associated Press reports that MedStar Health ignored multiple warnings from the government and other security companies to fix that problem. While the cyber attack didn't shut down MedStar, it did severely limit the company's ability to access patient records and other important data.
Correspondent Wally Hines. The Obama administration says it will transfer leftover money from the largely successful fight against Ebola to combat the growing threat of the Zika virus. Much of the $589 million would go to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention for research on the virus and Zika-related birth defects, as well as creation of response teams to limit the virus's spread. More on these stories at townhall.com.
When it comes to automobile service in Hampton Roads, Fink's Car Care is the destination locals have counted on for decades. Family owned and operated, they specialize in transmission service, oil changes, state inspection, radiator service, tires alignments, and showcase Win automotive products. Fink's does it all. Military and senior discounts are available. Find them on Facebook and visit them on South Military Highway in Chesapeake and Victory Boulevard in Portsmouth, Monday through Saturday. For more, log on to finkscarcare.com and call 545-3573 today.
Long's Billiards in Newport News is having a massive sale. 7, 8, even 9-foot tables are at an all-time low price, including Connolly, Brunswick, and Olhausen. 1,000 pool cues in stock are up to 30, 40, even 50% off. Over 100 pool tables also on sale. When gone, they're gone forever. Log on to longsbilliards.com. Call 599-3661 and visit them at 9906 Warwick Boulevard. Major clearance prices going on now at Long's Billiards.
People in Chesapeake and Hampton Roads have come to expect the finest Italian food at Spaghetti Eddie's. In addition to great lunch and dinner served daily, this fine establishment caters to and can host your party. Call 484-7301 for their Taylor Road location and call 410-5500 for their restaurant in Greenbrier. For more, log on to SpaghettiEddiesPizzaCafe.com.
Chesapeake, Virginia, 1650 AM WHKT presents Sports Scene. Sports Scene features local, regional, and nationally acclaimed guests and excellent interviews. Follow Sports Scene on Twitter at Greg Bick and at GJBTV.com. Now here is Greg Bicouvaris.
Thank you very much, Ken Johnson. As always, beautiful spring day, April 6, 2016. This is Sports Scene, presented by HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com. Browse, shop, and visit. Sports Scene is an interview show each Wednesday from 12 to 1. Also, sports highlights on NNPSTV.com. Tell your friends about 1650 on Facebook and Twitter. Greg Bick, Sports Highlight, GJBTV, and HROnlineMall.com. Connect with me on Twitter there. Love your interaction. Thank you to our military and a great guest lineup as well. Sponsors on GJBTV.com, marketplace sponsors. Guest lineup presented by Mi Casita Mexican Restaurant with 2 delicious locations in Virginia Beach. Phone line presented by, of course, the Newport News Greek Festival, when it starts June 2nd to June 5th. For more, go to newportnewsgreekfestival.org. Sponsors this month: Fink's Car Care, Spaghetti Eddie's, Long's Billiards. Me Hogar starts on Monday. Newport News Greek Festival going on June 2nd to June 5th. And, of course, congratulations to the UConn women last night, the Villanova men. Of course, Major League Baseball just getting started. NBA playoffs right around the corner as well. So a lot going on. We'll hear testimonials from CP Shuckers, Saffron, Outback, and Tokyo. A lot going on, of course. Congratulations again to Villanova for winning their first national championship in quite some time. Jay Wright and company getting the job done over the ACC in North Carolina. Ken, we've got the phone call coming up with Ken Johnson. I'm Greg Bicouvaris. This is Sports Scene. And, of course, we'll be back after these messages.
Good Italian food, daily specials, and a place people enjoy is Spaghetti Eddie's. Indulge in your mouth-watering pizza, pasta, subs, salads, appetizers, and desserts. Open 7 days a week. Log on to SpaghettiEddiesPizzaCafe.com and visit them at Taylor Road and on Eden Way North in Chesapeake for lunch and dinner. Like them on Facebook. Italian food you can count on is at Spaghetti Eddie's.
Long's Billiards in Newport News is having a massive sale. 7, 8, even 9-foot tables are at an all-time low price, including Connolly, Brunswick, and Olhausen. 1,000 pool cues in stock are up to 30, 40, even 50% off. Over 100 pool tables also on sale. When gone, they're gone forever. Log on to longsbilliards.com. Call 599-3661 and visit them at 9906 Warwick Boulevard. Major clearance prices going on now at Long's Billiards.
Catch up on archived editions of Sports Scene by going to gjbtv.com and clicking the YouTube image on the homepage. Now back to Sports Scene on 1650 AM and TuneIn.com.
We're recording. Ken Johnson's still overcoming Batman and Superman, of course. Kenny, you know that George Reeves was the best Superman ever.
Well, some will say Kirk Allen was, but I'm sure a lot of people don't remember who Kirk Allen was.
You're aging yourself, my friend. Well, we've had this gentleman on Collegiate Sports Focus, Sports Scene, when I worked at the game, at this station as well. In fact, this is the only sports talk show left from the old game in Virginia Beach. We want to welcome Dr. Wood Selig from Old Dominion, the athletic director. Wood, how are you, buddy?
I'm great, Greg. How are you doing today?
Good on this beautiful, beautiful April afternoon. Let's get right into it, of course. And you got a big event before we get into the hard topics here coming up next weekend, not this weekend, with the spring game.
Yeah, we have our spring football game, and it's part of the Charity Bowl now. The Charity Bowl is an event that raises literally hundreds of thousands of dollars for local charitable organizations. Dennis Elmer is the driving force behind that. And so that is an event that will also take place after a 5K road race that will go throughout campus with about 3,000 runners on Saturday morning, April the 16th, and then we'll run right into the charity game, and then we'll have our spring game, and then following that we'll have Old Dominion baseball versus Texas San Antonio. So it's going to be a huge day here on the campus of Old Dominion on Saturday, April the 16th.
Now, well before Old Dominion had a football team, we would always go to Virginia and see their spring game, years past, and really it was just about the game. Are you doing this more to get the attendance up for the football and the baseball game, or is it more just a celebration of spring?
Yeah, it's actually a nice day in general to have potential families and their high school students who are evaluating ODU as an institution of choice for their college career. And then you put all these events that go on and take place on campus. You bring 3,000 runners, and you let them run through your entire campus over a 5K road race, and you finish with a little celebratory event that leads into the Charity Bowl with all kinds of local and former NFL stars that are going to be playing right here in SB Ballard Stadium, and all that leads into the spring game. So we're just trying to do something that's fun and has potentially something for everyone in the Hampton Roads community, to bring them to Old Dominion, to our part of Hampton Roads, and hope they'll stay as long as they want. And if they want to stay through the entire afternoon and evening, they can wrap it up with an Old Dominion baseball game. And Old Dominion is playing awfully good this year, as high as a 15 RPI nationally, and has beaten UVA and a number of ranked teams already this year. So it's some pretty good baseball that they can stay for that Saturday evening.
Yes, they do. Excellent record so far, talking to Dr. Wood Selig, the athletic director of Old Dominion. This is Sports Scene. You can connect at Greg Bickel on Twitter. Also, this is heard on TuneIn.com. Type in WHKT. Also, radio.net by typing WHKT, and live in Hampton Roads on 1650 AM. All right, let's get to this article in the paper a few weeks ago about the new stadiums and new refurbishments. Here's my thing about that, and before I get your opinion on that. At a lot of the big schools, the major, and of course Old Dominion is a big school, but as far as big campus arenas and big stadiums and big amenities and so forth, you never hear a builder or a contractor speaking for the university. I think still, even though you have a great relationship there, not you personally or Mr. Broderick, that a contractor does a full focus article in the Virginia Pilot, when realistically the Board of Visitors has to make the decision, you've got to make the decision, and you and Mr. Broderick work as well as anybody. And I was a little surprised by that.
Well, yeah, I mean, Steve Ballard is certainly an entrepreneur in addition to a builder. So, with his time and his expense, he has put together a plan and a proposal that he would like for us to consider relative to keeping the football stadium on its current site. We continue to evaluate both keeping the stadium and renovating where we are versus perhaps a location in another area of campus that would be closer to the waterfront along Powhatan Avenue. So, that was certainly an option that we can consider, but our focus remains internal to the study that we have had ongoing since this past fall, and we're not going to waver from that internal analysis that Dave Harnage and his team, working with a consultant, Populous, who have done a number of NFL and college football and other pro venues. They've got quite a lot of experience. So, we've got a number of options. I think that's a good thing for ODU to have at this point.
Is it sometimes, though, Wood, a good and bad thing when you hype it up like that? Again, when I say it's in the paper, it's in the media, it's in social media, that there's a lot more phone calls and things that might distract the athletic staff from their day-to-day activities when they have to deal with something like that? Because that was a pretty, overpowering article there.
Yeah, I don't think it's been a distraction at all. I mean, we continue to focus on what we need to, and Dave Harnage, who's our chief operating officer, he's in charge of this stadium project and working with President Broderick and the Board of Visitors.
Sure.
So they're not letting this distract them either. So again, it was just an option and a proposal that was presented. So I think it's always good to have a number of options to consider.
But still a chain of command that you and Mr. Broderick and the Board of Visitors go through, correct?
Mm-hmm. Oh,
right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, let me get your opinion. When do you think it's 2016? What realistically 2020 sound realistic?
I think it's too early to call, Greg, because one, I don't know where we're going to land. I don't know if we're going to build brand new or if we're going to renovate where we are, and both of those instances have completely different time frames to them. So it's too early to call with regard to both the timing and the cost, the expense of the project. So, I think at this point, I think what we're seeing is that there's a tremendous appetite in this community for ODU football, which is great, and a lot of folks want to know what are we doing and how are we doing it, and when are we coming out with our plan. And as President Broderick and others have said, we get to make this decision once, and we've got to make this decision the right one and the best one for our institution, not just in the short term but long term, with regard to the overall campus master plan and where academic buildings and dining and residence halls are going to be located. So it's a really big decision that just can't be rushed.
Right, exactly. Not to mention transportation. You remember a couple of years the big FS1 football game. That was, the logistics at night are totally different from the daytime, and even for your spring game, that's a lot of traffic the police have to do, the campus police, the Norfolk police. So there's a lot of, like you said, a lot of protocol and stuff that has to go in order. And with that said, a lot of universities now, this firsthand way back when you worked at UVA, is fundraising. Is there more pressure, not just in the sports people would, but the entire university to constantly fundraise on different avenues?
Oh, I think so, because when you look at the state funding for higher education, it hadn't gone down just a couple percentage points. It's dropping, dozens of percentage points, over the last decade. So state funding is decreasing with regard to intercollegiate athletics, at least in the Commonwealth of Virginia. We've had a cap that's been put on revenue generated from student fees for intercollegiate athletics. So that's forced all of us within the Commonwealth to become better at fundraising, to do more with fundraising, to support our overall program more through private funds, be it individual, corporate, ticket sales. So, there's a tremendous stress throughout the Commonwealth and the country for higher education to generate more privately, more privately generated funding.
Talking to Dr. Wood Selig, this is Sports Scene Live at 12:19 on 1650. Don't forget gjbtv.com. Hit the YouTube link for archive shows as well. And of course, let's talk about some of the sports that just completed in a real kind of an outline synopsis so we can get to some other topics as well. Let's start off with the women before we get to the men. 17-17, not quite the year you probably expected. They did compete very well, though, in the tournament.
Yeah, the women had a great end of the season. I think it took them a while. They had some personnel losses, both with regard to some transfer as well as injury, and that took them a while to get over. But by the end of the year, they were playing some really good basketball and made it to the finals of the Conference USA tournament. So, and we only had one senior, and our senior was an individual who was most of the year on the bench in street clothes. So I really feel good about the additional student athletes who are coming into the women's basketball program with those who are returning. I'm looking forward to a really good year next year.
The men, of course, exceptional ending as well, like 2 years in a row. First, they made the Final Four of the NIT last year. This year, they beat Oakland in the Vegas 16, Vegas 8, and did very well against Tennessee Tech, UCSB, and, of course, Oakland. So that was kind of a niche tournament, didn't quite make 16. What are the pros and cons? You do get good TV exposure on that. There was very little attendance, but it does give the team another 3 games, or possibly 1, but you got 3 out of it.
Yeah, I thought the Las Vegas tournament was outstanding. We probably had about 100 fans. There were people who were from Virginia who were out in Las Vegas on spring break,
sure.
and they heard we were playing out there, and they took time out of their Vegas schedule to show up and support us and watch our game. So that was pretty neat. It was also nice, to finish the season with 25 wins after we won 27 last year. So in the last 2 years, we won 52 games. That's in the top 20 for wins in the last 2 years among the 351 Division I men's basketball programs. So Jeff Jones, in just his third year, the last 2 years has put together remarkable seasons, and we were a whisker away from making the NCAA 2 years ago. And we probably could have made the NIT this year, but there were so many teams who won their conference championship, and they were guaranteed an NIT slot. That so many of the NIT slots, since they only take 32, so many of them were wrapped up with the automatic qualifier from their conference because they didn't win the NCAA guarantee as a result of not winning their conference tournament. So I like where we are with our men's basketball program and the success we've had the last couple of years. And I think the Vegas experience, while we had 4 seniors, it was probably more of a reward for them than the growth of our overall team, because they're not coming back obviously next year. But those 4 seniors deserved a chance after coming 2 points shy of an NCAA tournament bid in the championship of Conference USA. They really deserved a chance to go out as winners, which is exactly what they did with the championship in Las Vegas. And I think that's a tournament that's going to be around. I don't think that's a one-hit wonder. I think it's going to continue to grow, continue to get bigger, stronger fields, and I think it's going to be a tournament that is going to be out after the NCAA, the NIT, the Vegas 16 is going to be the place to be for many schools looking for postseason opportunity.
Yeah, I got to give credit to the CBI and the CIT and even the women's NIT. They're all niche tournaments. They're still sticking around, but it's all about money and fundraising. And Vegas, of course, is the capital of money, it seems like. So that worked out really well.
Well, the Vegas model is a better model because the CBI and the CIT, every time you win, you pay more money to keep playing.
Wow.
So you start to, kind of in the back of your mind, you start sometimes to root for your team to lose, you don't have to pay any more money. With the Vegas tournament, we all paid $45,000 up front, and you win and you keep playing, and you're not going to put up any more money. So if you lose in the first round, that's going to hurt a little bit. But they gave you 22 round trip airfare tickets. They gave you 15 hotel rooms. They gave you some meals. So there was a lot that came back on top of the $45,000. Plus, you were guaranteed 3 games on national TV. So where the others don't have any TV at all. So you've got until maybe the very final game.
4, yep.
And so you had 3 nationally televised games on CBS College Sports. So it cost about $25,000 to produce and air and distribute a game. So I mean, we received $75,000 in production costs, national TV for 3 games in exchange for our $45,000. Plus we flew out there. The entire party was part of that $45,000 as well as your hotel. So it was the most economical postseason event I think I've ever been around outside of the NCAA and the NIT tournament. Even bowl games cost more than that.
Right. It's almost even scary too. You made a good point too about Jeff and his team, that he's only finished his 3rd year, made the postseason, in 2 very nice tournaments. He had health scares himself. He had health issues with his players. He had a senior that left the team. His roster's never totally been full the way he's liked it in the 3 years. I think with a full roster next year, health, of course, on his end, less distractions, it's only going to get better for him in Old Dominion.
Yeah, I mean, this year we should have had Ambrose Mosley and Javante Douglas the entire season. And had you been able to add those 2 throughout the year on this team, I know we could beat that. That's the difference between losing to Middle Tennessee by 2 versus beating Middle Tennessee and going to the NCAA. So we're very, very close the last 2 years to being an NCAA participating institution, and I'm convinced that Jeff is a coach who can get that done for us. When you add the basketball practice facility that we're getting ready to open during this coming basketball season and the 16-17 season, I just know that we've some of our best days are still ahead.
Absolutely. Let's talk about the conference a little bit. I remember several years ago when you were still in the CA, you guys went down to Bristol and tried to work a deal with ESPN. Of course, at that point, VCU left, you left. I mean, George Mason went to the A-10. That's where I went to school. We've never been the same since we left the CA. I can speak for, pretty much as an alumni there. It's just George Mason since Larinaga left just has not worked out. But you saw Middle Tennessee. They did very well. They beat Michigan State, but only a 15 seed. And, of course, Syracuse, who was not having a great year by Coach Boeheim standards, who, for 40 years has definitely earned that respect, easily beat that team and also beat Virginia. So that was, they proved they were worthy of being in the Final Four. But what is your opinion about the Conference USA and the television package, which really is not that great for the women? And for the men, you really have to dig to find the games on TV. Football is a once-a-week entity, but when you're competing against all the ESPN Woods and all the ABCs and all the CBSs, NBC, it's really sometimes hard to find a Conference USA football or basketball game on regular TV.
Well, Greg, there are 32 conferences.
Sure.
There are 351 schools that play basketball. 128 play FBS football. Another about 125 play 1AA or FCS football. It's becoming increasingly hard to find almost any game other than your top 5 or 6 conferences in football and your top 7 or 8 in basketball. So, that's reality.
Right.
No matter what fan you are, you're going to be hard-pressed to find your team if they're not a Power 5 conference, or perhaps maybe in the American Athletic Conference, which is right below that, or a couple other conferences. The TV contracts with ESPN, the opportunities are going away. ESPN is losing viewership on cable. They're losing hundreds of millions of dollars a year. They've dropped 350 employees just recently. Mm-hmm. They're backing up from college athletics. They're backing up from TV deals. The money is not there. So unless you're in the Power 5, your TV future is not all that great. So what is going to make all of us have to do is we're going to have to get involved in TV production on our own campuses. We're going to have to become really good at streaming and merging the radio with the audio, with the visual, and people are going to have to get into technology, and we're going to have to get on the ESPN 3s, and we're going to have to get on the ODUsports.com, and we're going to have to be our own TV producers, because that's where all this is headed, and that's just the reality of it. And we can pound our fist and cry and moan and say this isn't fair and we hate this, but it's the reality of the world.
Well, you're exactly right. And I do a lot of work for Fox, CBS, and ESPN as a stage manager. I'll give you a good example. The NCAA women's tournament at Maryland, the first round and second round, the announcers were not even there. They were not even present. And that tells you exactly to the point you're speaking of.
Yeah, they don't have the money to keep investing like they have. The sponsors aren't there. People are cutting their cable cords. So when your cable companies are losing mega millions of dollars, they're cutting programming. And so ESPN, they've lost 7 or 8 million subscribers, and each subscriber for ESPN pays nearly $7 per month to get ESPN. So if you're a subscriber, and you've got they're all bundled. You can't pick your own station. You can't pick your top 3 and pay $12 a month. You got to take the 60, 70 basic package. If ESPN's in there, they're getting about $7 per month per subscriber. So if you do the math, as a subscriber, you're paying close to $100 a year to get ESPN. About 7 or 8 million individuals in the U.S. have cut their cable completely, and they're going to Apple TV, they're going to these other platforms to get TV, they're going over the air again. So if they lose 7 million, 8 million subscribers times $100 a year, they're losing a lot of money. So they're having to cut somewhere.
You're exactly right. Talking to Dr. Wood Selig for a few more moments right here on Sports Scene. Very gracious of his time, his talent, and his treasure, of course. It's not, those long days are gone by Wood when Ted Davenport was a Virginia Student Aid Foundation. You can just walk in and get tickets. Those days are long gone as far as marketing and so forth. Mm-hmm. It just shows you just how complex it's got to be more in house, like you said, more streaming. Look at the national championship game, and Kenny will play a clip of that in just a moment. But it was on the regular broadcast was on TBS. The ratings weren't as good as CBS, but it was also on the other networks that partnered with CBS to do the Final Four. And I thought overall it was a good product. And Kenny, let's go ahead and play that winning clip.
Playing to the court with Archie Diacono. 3 seconds at midcourt. Jenkins gives it to Jenkins for the championship. The national champions with Jenkins hitting the winner.
Great job, Kenny. And, of course, that was still a lot of excitement. It's still relevant on TV, but like you said, there's got to be on other platforms, too.
Well, I think, and I'm part of the older demographic,
sure.
And so I like to be able to sit down in front of my TV, and I like to be able to hit my remote, and there are only about 3 channels, embarrassingly, that I go to, and they're predominantly sports. But those days when I've got 18, 16, 12-year-old children, and they're not watching TV like that. They're watching it on their phone. They're watching it on their iPads. I'm like, how are you watching the game? Because my son doesn't have a TV in his room, and he's watching it on his phone. And so that's why schools like Old Dominion, that's why schools that aren't in the top 50 to 70 in the power conferences, we've got to find a way to distribute our content to all these young kids and young adults across the country and the world. We've got to find a way to deliver our content and not be reliant upon ESPN and Fox and CBS and NBC. And the technology is going to be great for us because now instead of getting shut out completely, we've got vehicles and opportunities where we can distribute our content. And if you're at all savvy, you can get our games at your home and flip them over to your 50-inch TV in your living room, and you're going to be able to get all of our games, not just 3 or 4 that they elect to air each year. You're going to be able to get all of our games. So that's where we're going to put a lot of our time and energy and resources here at ODU is developing our broadcast platform outside of whatever TV contracts we may or may not have.
Well, yeah, exactly right. The NFL just announced they're doing their Thursday package in addition to CBS and NBC and the NFL Network on Twitter, for goodness gracious. I mean, so if you're not up to date with the computers, folks, now is the time definitely to do it. Listen, I had Debbie White on my TV show in March. Let's talk about her. She's retiring.
Yep, she is retiring. Golly, she's sworn me to not tell anyone how long she's really been here.
Oh, we know.
It spans 4 decades, and she's been a great ambassador for not only ODU athletics, but she was really a pioneer and a champion for women's athletics. Once ODU became the first school in the Commonwealth of Virginia to give athletic scholarships for women's student athletes, and then she worked the Final Four as the moderator for the post-game media conferences, so she did that for decades. So she's been a great asset for intercollegiate athletics, not just Old Dominion. So she's retiring in the middle of the summer on June 30, and will be virtually impossible to replace. Yeah. And we will definitely miss her. And she'll carry a lot of ODU knowledge out the door with her when she departs.
Yeah, you lost Carol Hudson too. Carol's still around for the basketball games, helping out, but that's hard to lose those two. But you're doing a good job with your staff, and and how about the other sports? The baseball team got double-digit wins, like you said. They've done very well under Finwood.
Oh, yeah. No, I think Coach Finwood has us positioned if we can have a strong conference season this year, and we're really just getting underway with that with a three series so far. But if we can really do the job we think we can do, and we've got a great new pitching coach who seems to be doing well, I think we can be a postseason player. So hopeful for that. Our women's lacrosse is off to an exceptional start at the top of the Atlantic Sun, and I think 8-2 right now. Both of our tennis programs are ranked nationally in the top 50 in the country, and our men and women's golf continue to play well. So we're having an exceptional spring season, and the next month will be interesting to see if any of our teams can claim conference championships and perhaps become NCAA tournament participants.
2 more nuggets with Wood Selig. We'll let him go right here on Sports Scene. Really appreciate his time. 1650 AM, tunein.com. Type in WHKT, radio.net. Type in WHKT. Like you said, Wood, you can hear this show all over the world now because of your phone or your computer, because of all the different apps. Just the technology is unbelievable. But let me get your opinion too. You were very transparent about the football team. They went 5-7 last year, and of course it's not easy. They're playing tougher teams. This year again they've got Appalachian State and NC State on the road. Of course, 6 games at home for the first time in quite some time. What do you realistically expect this year?
I don't even know. I mean, it's way too early to even think about that. I'd have to see what we look like, in August, and it's way too premature to hazard a guess on that. So, I'm hopeful that we'll qualify for a bowl game because we still have, we've only had one real season to do that, but we missed out by 3 points this past year from being bowl eligible. So, hopefully we can find 3 points somewhere between now and the end of next season, if not more, and be better. But I know nobody here is satisfied unless we're going to bowls and competing for Conference USA championship.
Yeah, I know the MEAC moved away from their kind of like the old 1AA tournament to go to a bowl, and sometimes that's good and bad because you don't really get a chance to move on, but so much only one team really gets to go. But how about attendance in Hampton Roads? You're saying the light rail, it's been around in Norfolk for a long time. Virginia Beach is talking about it. As far as getting people to places, the Admirals don't draw like they used to. Of course, your football and basketball teams draw very well. The women's team, so with the attendance. What do you tell your coaches and your PR people about attendance as far as that, as well as the ticket holders and everything else? Because that's always an issue, no matter at Old Dominion, but at every sport.
I've been exceptionally pleased with ODU attendance. We continue to sell out every game in football we've ever played. So we're probably one of only a handful of schools in the country who can say they average 100% of capacity. And I don't know if anyone's ever sold out every game they've ever played. So football, continue to be really pleased with the support we get from Hampton Roads. Men's and women's basketball. Men's basketball averaged over 7,000. I mean, we seat a little over 8,000, so we're 80-some% capacity. We were ranked second in Conference USA in men's basketball attendance, and women's basketball attendance, we were ranked second as well in Conference USA in attendance, and one of the top 50 drawing women's basketball programs in the country. So our big three continue to get really big support and big crowds. So I've got no issue, no concern with the support that ODU receives from Hampton Roads.
A-10's got a lot of Virginia schools. Are you pleased, Wood? Are you as happy as you can be with the Conference USA in general?
Yeah, I mean, we had to make a move to elevate our football program. It was time, and the opportunity was there. So we had to make that move. So it really, the options were not the A-10 for us, because the A-10 is 1AA. Well, they don't even have football. They play some of their schools in the CAA. But so our options were Conference USA, Sun Belt, Mid-American Conference. Those were three that we probably had to evaluate, and we didn't really pursue the Sun Belt. Talked a little bit to the Mid-American, and felt like Conference USA represented our best transition. So it's been a good opportunity for us, and we continue to grow all of our programs to be more competitive at this particular level.
Wood, thank you very much, and thank you to Katie as well. Always enjoy talking to you. We'll have to get you on TV here soon. Always a gentleman. Enjoy the rest of your spring, and keep on cheering on for those Monarchs. You're doing a great job.
Thank you, Greg. Appreciate your help as well. We'll catch you soon.
Very good. My pleasure.
Okay.
Dr. Wood Selig right there from Old Dominion, the athletic director, Ken, enlightening us. And I want to get your opinion about it as well, Ken. You've been in Virginia Beach most of your adult life. What do you think about the light rail?
Oh, well, it's absolutely a failure. It does not work anywhere except for Walt Disney World. And it works at Walt Disney World because it pays for itself, because you're paying $100 a day per person. And if you figure how many people are going in there, it covers the cost of it elsewhere. It's permanently subsidized. It does not do anything for congestion, and it will not. Even the people that are behind it say it won't do anything for congestion. It's the least effective return on the dollar for transportation of any system. Buses, you could buy people their own Tesla. Each individual in Virginia Beach, you could go out and buy them a Tesla and give them a Tesla, and you would still be ahead of the game as far as that goes with light rail. The only people that are for light rail, there's two groups of people. Well,
City Council.
There's three people. There's three groups of people. There's one the truly delusional who see pink skies and purple rainbows and unicorns and just la-la and it's all wonderful and happy. The people who are really, really, really invested in it in some kind of way, either financially or emotionally or whatever, they've got some kind of gain from it. Or the people who are just totally, absolutely brain dead.
Mm-hmm. It goes so slow. And here's my opinion. The city council wants it. Sessoms wants it because of the new arena. But guess what? The tourists aren't going to use it. They still got to get down to the oceanfront. And the thing moves so slow. And really, you know what? The biggest issue with it in Norfolk is you have to watch for your life going through a red light so you won't get hit by one right there near Brambleton Avenue.
Yeah, the 9 members of city council who voted for it and steadfastly have supported it got their little envelopes of cash, so they've been bought and sold a long time ago. They're not going to, they can't give the money back. They've already spent it. I'm sure you don't keep that much cash sitting around the house. I'm sure they've spent all the money they've gotten from all the invested interest in it. The 2 people that voted against it are honest-to-goodness representatives of the people and are looking out for their best interest and the best tax dollars. Thank you, John Moss. You've been leading the trail. And John Atkinson, bless your heart, he has really put himself on the line to try to get the word out about it. And if people like that, I mean, those are people that they're in a position to lose in a way by being against it. And if they're that adamant for it, there must be something to it.
Put it on the ballot and let's see if it wins. All right, we'll take a break in just a moment. A locals tradition is CP Shuckers with locations on Shore Drive and Pacific Avenue. People love their prime rib, seafood, and much more. They showcase NASCAR, Major League Baseball, NHL, NBA, golf. They got the Masters this weekend, soccer, tennis. Like both locations on Facebook, log on to cpshuckers.com. Eat or be eaten at CP Shuckers. And, of course, they've got their big event, Mother Shuckers, May 13th and May 14th, celebrating good food, awesome music, and spirits. Eat or be eaten at CP Shuckers. Great place for lunch and dinner in Virginia Beach. Also want to dedicate this program to the state trooper that passed away. Ken, it just shows you how things change and ironic. We just had Michelle Anaya on last week. You can hear her interview on gjbtv.com by hitting the YouTube link, and within 24 hours of her being here, a state trooper was killed.
And he didn't go into that. It was a training exercise. He didn't go into that knowing there would be a hazard to his life.
Having a conversation.
You put your life in a line every single day, and you don't know when it might be your last. So I have nothing but the utmost respect for all the people in law enforcement.
Very good. All right, this is Sports Scene live on 1650 AM, tunein.com. Type in WHKT, radio.net. Type in WHKT. Tell your friends. At Greg Bick on Twitter. That's GREGBIC. Stay tuned. Go ahead.
Good Italian food, daily specials, and a place people enjoy is Spaghetti Eddie's. Indulge in your mouth-watering pizza, pasta, subs, salads, appetizers, and desserts. Open 7 days a week. Log on to SpaghettiEddiesPizzaCafe.com and visit them at Taylor Road and on Eden Way North in Chesapeake for lunch and dinner. Like them on Facebook. Italian food you can count on is at Spaghetti Eddie's. When it comes to automobile service in Hampton Roads, Fink's Car Care is the destination locals have counted on for decades. Family owned and operated, they specialize in transmission service, oil changes, state inspection, radiator service, tires alignments, and showcase Win automotive products. Fink's does it all. Military and senior discounts are available. Find them on Facebook and visit them on South Military Highway in Chesapeake and Victory Boulevard in Portsmouth, Monday through Saturday. For more, log on to finkscarcare.com and call 545-3573 today.
For over 55 years, Long's Billiards is the place to go for all your billiard supplies. Long's Billiards has Brunswick and Oldhausen pool tables at more than 50% off. Long's Billiards has never offered prices this low before. 7, 8, and 9-foot pool tables on sale now. Hurry, this deal won't last.
Visit Long's Billiards in Newport News or log on to longsbilliards.com. Call now, 599-3661. That's 599-3661.
Catch up on archived editions of Sports Scene by going to gjbtv.com and clicking the YouTube image on the homepage. Now back to Sports Scene on 1650 AM and tunein.com. Interact with Sports Scene on Twitter at Greg Bick. Email the show, bicogb@hotmail.com. Now back to Greg Bicouvaris in the Hampton Roads OnlineMall.com studios. It's now time for Greg's Highlights, presented by HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com.
All right, I want to thank Dr. Wood Selig for joining us right here on Sports Scene, gjbtv.com. Click the YouTube link for archive shows. Also go on the homepage and marketplace sponsors as well. And, of course, save the date each Wednesday for Sports Scene from 12 to 1. HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com. Browse, shop, visit. Of course, marketplace, retail, restaurants, services, coupons. Great coupon right there. Print it out on HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com. Norfolk Greek Festival coming up May 12th to May 15th as well. Looking forward to that. Let's welcome from Thriller Radio, gentlemen. Let's welcome Andy Cohen. How are you, buddy?
All right. How are you, Greg?
Very good. Always involved with the food bank and so many different sources. You got a big event coming up a week from one day tomorrow, the 14th.
That's correct. Big event. It's our 23rd annual Tastefully Yours, Peninsula's Best. And that's to benefit the Virginia Peninsula Food Bank, a tremendous event. We've got over 40 restaurants this year, at least a dozen craft beers, selection of wines. We've got Las Vegas-style gaming tables with funny money, a photo booth, live music by Forte from 6 to 8 p.m., and the DJ for dancing from 8 to 9:30 p.m. You can't have more fun anywhere. And only $45 a ticket. And that $45 that you spend for a ticket can provide as many as 180 meals for people in need right in our area.
Great event, of course. Give us the hours and the full location.
The location is the Hampton Roads Convention Center. That's right next to the Hampton Coliseum. And it is Thursday, April 14th from 6 to 9:30 p.m. Mm-hmm. The tickets are available at the Food Bank's website, which is www.hrfoodbank.org. That's www.hrfoodbank.org.
I got to give you a lot of credit, Andy. It's a very consistent event. People look forward to it. I think it's the premier indoor event in the springs. You never know how the weather is. Just look at this month right here. It's hot one day and pneumonia weather the next. I mean, it's just, you have it at a perfect time of the year. You know, people are frustrated with their taxes, trying to let off the winter steam. It's a great event. It benefits so many different people.
That it does. And one of the great things about it being an indoor event is the weather shouldn't affect it. And we even have golf carts to bring you from your car to the front door.
Right.
So there's another convenience. We leave no stone unturned to provide an outstanding event for our attendees.
Of course, you're very involved in social media as well. That definitely helps with the younger kids.
Yeah, Food Bank does a terrific job with that. If you go on, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all the things that people of my generation are just trying to understand, you're going to find us there. You'll find us on TV, on radio. We're there.
Right. Of course, great event coming up on the 14th. Hard to believe it's already next week. And, of course, a lot of good food. Talk about some of the different food and beverages that'll be there.
Oh, now you got to be difficult. We've got at least a dozen Virginia craft beers. We've got a large selection of wines. Just a few of the restaurants new this year are Pearl 703, which is a great farm-to-table restaurant in Newport News. We have Travinia Italian Kitchen and Wine Bar. The Point, who was there last year. Mango is a new restaurant in Phoebus that is terrific. Finn Seafood, one of the finest restaurants in Hampton Road. They will be there with Chef Kenny Sloan. Bar Louie, Captain Chuckamuck's, the Cypress Grill at Embassy Suites, Chamberlain Retirement Living. Their food makes you want to retire.
Yes.
Thai Erewhon back probably for about the 10th year. Thai Siam. We have Nawab and Rajput with Indian food, salsas and Paz Azteca with Mexican food. You name it, we have it.
You better bring your Alka-Seltzer, folks, but it'll be a lot of fun. All right, leave us on a note with Howard Cosell. How would he wrap up Villanova's win?
Villanova's win was absolutely amazing, and I think that Christian Laettner, who made that incredible shot for Duke versus Kentucky years ago, said it best. He said, I seized my position
Very good.
It was probably one of the finest finishes you'll ever see.
Andy, go ahead. Andy, are you doing any more comedy at all? Are you doing comedy clubs at all?
Not really. Every once in a while, I'll get up and do something, but it's not on a regular basis.
Help out Lorraine a little bit, too. She's a great girl over at Kazi's Comedy Club.
She's terrific. She's going to be one of our judges.
Oh, she's great. She's great. We love Lorraine. So she's opening up a new place, too. So, Andy, all the best, my friend. Enjoy the rest of your wonderful afternoon. I'll have to get you in the studio sometime and talk some more.
Sounds like plan.
All right. And, of course, it's coming up next Thursday, the 14th.
Next Thursday, the 14th. Once again, hrfoodbank.org. Order your tickets. Get them today.
You're the man, Andy. Have a great afternoon, my friend.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. My pleasure. Saffron Mediterranean Cuisine. I want to thank Andy. They have great shish kebabs right there in Hilton Village at 10417 Warwick Boulevard in Newport News. 223-9978. They have outdoor dining, hot and cold appetizers, entrees, fish, kids menu, desserts, assorted wraps and stews. Yum, yum, yum. Go there for lunch and dinner 7 days a week. Tell them Greg sent you. Dine in, carry out catering. Open Monday through Sunday, pretty much at 11 o'clock in the morning. Light food, good food, great shish kebabs. They got great gyros. People call them mojitos, whatever you want to call them, but it's delicious food over at Saffron. Go by and see David Daoud right there, 10417 Warwick Boulevard. Celebrate Mother's Day there. And, of course, indoor, outdoor dining, very elegant atmosphere in Hilton Village. You can see the big logo out front. Kenny, let's get to What Teased Me Off in just a moment. Right here on 1650 AM, also tunein.com. Type in WHKT to listen on your phone or your computer. Of course, right here on Sports Scene.
What Tees You Off? Presented by GJBTV.com.
And we'll get to a couple more testimonials for you as well. Kenny, trying to crack hard shell crabs or crab legs for meat, basically cutting yourself just over lunch, just trying to get a few ounces of crab meat out of there.
I don't do it. It's no percentage in it. It's dumb. People love to do it. I guess they like the challenge, maybe. To me, I just buy if I need crab meat, I'll buy it in the bucket.
But it seems like you need to go to a hardware store just to open it up.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's not
14 tools and you get 5 pounds of debris and about 2 ounces of meat. Really? Come on.
It's better just to get the crab meat, the lobster meat, the crab meat, the shrimp, whatever. Just, go to a grocery store. Don't cut yourself.
If you ordered an 8-ounce steak and after you cut away all the debris and the bones and everything else and you had 1 ounce of meat, would you be happy with that?
Yeah, and then people say, go for the 16-ounce steak. Really, that's only like 2 ounces.
Yeah, really.
All right, of course, we're talking What Teased Me Off right here. NBA or anyone, Kenny, there's an NBA player on a certain team that recorded his teammate without audio and video knowledge consent. Shame on him being immature, and it's also against the law, too.
Yeah, that is.
You do that as well and try to record that and say, play it on social media. How about this? Waiting for a proof for 3 months, and then you have to initiate the person who's in denial about sending the proof.
That's not very proactive.
No. Winning a national championship, folks, is not a cure for a disease. Just keep it in perspective, Ken. Sports is just a game.
It's just a game. It's supposed to be fun.
Absolutely. And, of course, too much sugar, folks. When in doubt, cut back on sugar. Speaking of which, you can get a lot of good carbs over at the Premier Buffet in Hampton Roads, Tokyo Grill and Buffet. Indulge in this all-you-can-eat extravaganza, which includes Chinese, Japanese, hibachi, sushi, and American food, as well as fruit and dessert, too. Tokyo Grill and Buffet is ideal for every occasion, with lunch at $6.39, dinner at $9.39, and Sunday all day is $9.99. They're located right at 49 West Mercury Boulevard in Hampton. They have takeout as well, new ownership, new management. April the 26th, Senior Tuesday, lunch buffet for 60 years and older is only $4.99. And coming up Military Tuesday in May, the first week in May as well, lunch buffet is $4.99 active with ID. Before we get to talk about Outback Steakhouse, and we'll talk about Superman versus Batman with Ken and get his thoughts here in just a moment. Introducing lunch at Outback every blooming day with your favorites like Aussie tacos made with chicken, fish, or steak. Try the new ribeye melt topped with bacon, cheddar, and garlic aioli, all in a toasted artisan bun. With over 70 lunch combinations starting at only $6.99. It's now lunch at last at Outback, 1255 Fordham Drive in Virginia Beach, 523-4832. Go by and see Mike and the great staff, of course. Great lunch, dinner, late night, of course. Watch the games on TV. Great appetizers, kids menu. The best steaks around in Virginia Beach. The premier Outback Steakhouse that the tourists and locals go to is at 1255 Fordham Drive, right in the heart of Kempsville, one of Kenny's favorite areas in Virginia Beach. Kenny, saw the movie last week. Thought it was a little long, a little conflicting. I thought, overall the movie was very good. Superman versus Batman.
There's a lot of things going on. First of all, this is the setup for the DC version of the Avengers, the Justice League. So they've got to do a lot of things to prepare you for the upcoming set of films. So there's a lot of foundation building going on. The other thing is there's a lot of things that if you don't really pay a good deal of attention, if you don't see it more than once, you're going to miss it, and then some plot points won't make as much sense. The first time I saw it, I thought, what? Huh? Second time I saw it, I said, oh, okay, that's why that happened, because of. And then the third time I saw it, it really made a lot of sense. It's a lot of subtlety going on. I'm feeling some scenes left on the cutting room floor because, after all, it is 2 hours and 31 minutes long. It's a long movie. You can't have it go on forever. War and Peace, for goodness sakes. But I think if you see it more than once, you might appreciate it more. That said, how do we put this without spoiling it for anybody? The created Kryptonian in this movie, that was a little ridiculous. I'm not sure why they did that, unless there's some comic book reason for it. I thought that was just a bit much and a bit stupid.
Especially toward the end.
And Jesse Eisenberg, oh, come on. What are you trying to be, Heath Ledger as the Joker or Jim Carrey or what? Totally, horrendously, awfully miscast.
Who was the young lady, Lois Lane?
Oh, that's Amy Adams.
She's beautiful.
She does a wonderful job. Gal Gadot, what a Wonder Woman.
Yes.
Whoa, I'm looking forward to that movie by itself. Everybody else was fine. I didn't have an issue with anything except Jesse Eisenberg. What on
Yeah, you mentioned the Lex Luthor character was more like the Joker. It just seemed like, I thought for a second it would be Two-Face, the Riddler, or the Joker almost. But anyway, thank you.
He was kind of like the Riddler from Batman Forever.
Yeah, or the Joker almost. He was almost like laughing in his jail cell toward the end, very much like the Joker was. But anyway, I want to thank our great guest today, Dr. Wood Selig, Athletic Director at Old Dominion, as well as Andy Cohen from the Food Bank, and all of our great sponsors as well. For more, go to gjbtv.com, hit the YouTube link for archive shows, interact with me at Greg Bick on Twitter, GJBTV, HR Online, Mall.com, and Sports Highlight. And of course, we will talk to you next Wednesday from 12 to 1 for Sports Scene. For Ken Johnson, I'm Greg Bicouvaris. Happy Wednesday. We'll talk to you soon.
AM 1650 WHKT in Portsmouth, it's 1 p.m.
News this hour from townhall.com.